Well, today we're going to talk about chakras. And we're going to continue in the series. And we're going to explore the sixth chakra. And I think it's important that we do that because without understanding the chakras, we don't understand energy. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of a highlight of where we are. And so what are the chakras? They're basically energy centers that help regulate the body throughout. And if you notice on the chart, you'll notice that each of the 7 chakras is positioned in different areas. Different parts of our energy and where our energy goes. And the chakra has a vibrational frequency. It has a color. It has an element, and it responds to specific functions within our human body. So you can literally tell by what's going on in your body what chakra is needing to be opened. And so, if there is a chakra, let's say you're dealing with something along the lines of cancer. Cancer would represent what? The 4th chakra, the heart chakra. What that's saying is you've got to open the heart more. For whatever reason, we block the heart and that energy isn't moving. And each chakra has the ability to do that. When you have blockage in the sacral chakra, that means you've got problems in your sex life. Very simple. You don't need Viagra or Cialis. You need to clear out your 2nd chakra. Then you've got no problems with it. I'm talking about for men, ladies. Since we're all energy, the ability to manage our energy is critical so that we can function optimally. And it also keeps us psychologically, emotionally, and physically balanced. Do you notice how it's all of the aspects of us are what? They represent energy. Because why? Because everything is energy. And we forget that in the West, we're not tapped into that idea. We think it's all gotta do, instead of gotta be. Gotta allow the energy to just flow. Easily flows up and down. And so when we look at this, the 3rd eye chakra is located right here between the eyebrows. It's actually the God eye. These 2 eyes see the duality of life. This eye sees the life in balance. So you can tell immediately when you're looking at life, an event, a person. If there's judgment going on, it's through these eyes. When there's non-judgment, there's balance. It's through the 3rd eye. That's the God eye. And here's the thing. It is so rare that we look through it through the 3rd eye. It's the rarest thing you'll find today. The 3rd eye is not into drama. The 3rd eye is not into fear. The 3rd eye doesn't see the universe out of balance, but rather the 3rd eye sees perfect balance in the universe all the time. Because for the universe not to be in balance would be the universe would self-destruct. Because if there wasn't balance, it would not be one. It would self-destruct upon itself. So let's look at the 3rd eye. The 3rd eye is the 6th chakra. It's located, like I said, between the eyebrows, right above the bridge of the nose. So right here, it's also represented by the color purple. It's a bluish-purple. That's the color that's been associated. In other words, look at a rainbow. And you'll see the second from the last color on one side of the rainbow will be the color represented by the 3rd eye. It's the energy center that represents divine wisdom and mystical states of consciousness. Why? Divine wisdom, right? Seeing through the eyes of the divine. Mystical. Why is it mystical? Because it's not seeing through duality. It's seeing through total and pure connection. To get that mystical is the ability to see everything in life. From the human perspective, it would be considered seeing everything in life as a miracle. It's not a miracle through the 3rd eye. It's natural. It's very natural. But we have a thing where we've got to have a miracle. No, it's just shifting perspective. And when we shift perspective, everything happens. It's also related to the supreme element, which is the combination of all the elements in their pure form. It transcends. The bound of consciousness and his associated consciousness tends to be what we perceive consciously. This is beyond that. This is above that. This is the all-encompassing divine consciousness that sees and knows all things. When we get into the 3rd eye, we come from a higher consciousness than what we normally live in. That's truly the state of unification of divine. The mystical, the absolute mystical experience is being in oneness. And when you're in that state, there are no words to describe it. Absolutely none. So people want, tell me what it's like to be mystical. Can't. Tell me what it's like to be in the divine. Here, how do you know you're there? You don't know you're there till you're not there. That's a really fascinating thing. You cannot know the divine while you're in the divine because the divine, seeing the balance in everything, doesn't see that there's two perspectives, so it has nothing to compare against, so there's no point of reference for it to see itself. And that's where people get messed up because humans, we want to have a sensory experience of things, and we don't realize that the divine is beyond the senses. And when you get to that state, it's the best recharge of anything in the human form. You just come out of there and your battery is lit. You've got juice. You can do anything at that point. The third eye is associated with the following behavioral characteristics. You're going to love this. Not being able to find one vision or purpose. See, where does the purpose come from? It comes from the infinite wisdom within us. The infinite wisdom within us knows what is our natural DNA tendency. DNA meaning what lights us up. What are the highest arc of our values? Our infinite wisdom knows that, and then from that realization it guides us right to a purpose. It wasn't until I got clear on my values that my life purpose became clear. And what was amazing, I got the purpose when I least expected it. I can remember really clearly I was at an event called CEO Space. Net, a networking event on business and expansion, and I was explaining my vision to a gentleman who was one of the professors there, Kevin. Never forget him. Really, just an incredible man. And I said it, and he said, "Oh, so what you talk about or what you teach is how to better self-love through conscious living." And I went, "Oh my God." Those words caused the hair on my body to stand up because I knew it rang true for me. I hadn't been able to put those words into form. And then, when I came, I knew it. So what was happening? My third eye heard it through the third eye of someone else who perceived it. He listened to my human words and it just blurted out of nothing that phrase. And I heard it, and there was a oneness. So people say, "How did you find your divine purpose?" Well, it took a lot of years. I was open. And I think open is really the key word here. It's a rejection of everything spiritual. So when our third eye is blocked, we reject the spiritual realm. We are totally into the material, the psychological, the intellectual. We don't want to believe. We can't believe because it's mystical. We're caught up in the world of materialism. It's a lack of clarity. I can't tell you how many people, when they come to me for prayer, what's the number one prayer people want? They want to feel clear. They want guidance. Where does it come from? Tapping into infinite wisdom within you. Everyone will get that. One of the greatest tools I use, and you'll hear me teach this, is if you've got something going on in your life, let's say you have an illness. Okay, I would say if you have an illness, I would write a letter to infinite wisdom, to God, to Spirit, and I would say, what the heck is going on here? Why is this in my life? How do I heal this from my life? And you just write down everything you can about all the crap that's associated with what you're experiencing. Pause, and then write a letter from infinite to you. Dear Lee, and you will be amazed. You will get the answer that you're seeking. Because you've opened up to divine wisdom within you. All you got to do is try it. Don't believe me. Try it. Test this. I promise you it will work. It's also the inability to see the bigger picture. Think about that. If you're looking through the eyes of humanness and there's contrast, what happens? We attach to one side, and don't we? Our perspective becomes very limited when our perspective is limited. We're missing a whole spectrum of infinite possibilities that could be happening around us. So the human mind doesn't see the magnificence of life. The divine mind can see it at a much greater level. So when we open the third eye, we get a truer perspective of what is in front of us. And let me tell you, in the moments when you see it, you'll be blown away at how good it is. We get stuck in daily issues and not be able to see. I'm stuck in the muck. I'm stuck in all the crap that's going on in my life. When you're stuck there, you're in human condition. You're seeing it one-sided. When you step back, probably the best tool for it is to go into meditation. When you're in meditation, ask a question. Clarity will come. And you'll see, and you'll stop being stuck in it. Also, we indulge in fantasies and illusions. Why do you think there's so many addictions? People get stuck in the illusion of the addiction, pornography, largest use of the internet. Why are people there? They're stuck in the fantasy and illusion of the physical world, that it can replace a feeling of sense of wholeness, a sense of oneness within us. And it's not until we open ourselves to the greater thing we get stuck in what happens when someone gets addicted to something like that. They have to have more and more and more. And they can't just keep having the same thing. It's got to be different. 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 And we get into all sorts of twisted looking-ats. I don't know how else to say that. Twisted looking-ats. Has that ever been said before? I'm not sure. It's been said here today, so it's obviously infinite wisdom speaking there. What else happens when the third eye is imbalanced or constipated? It's sort of blocked. What happens is we lose our sense of direction. We're bouncing all over the place. We don't have focus because we don't know our life purpose, right? Remember the prior slide. We don't have clarity of our purpose. We don't have clarity of purpose. We're bouncing all around. We're like ping pong balls or that machine. Pinball machine, that's it. It's a pinball machine going all over the place. And that's what life is. If you really think about our lives, if you're not clear, you're bouncing from one thing to the other over and over and over again. And you hit bells, ding, and every time you hit a bell, you have a concussion. You get crazier and crazier and crazier. Our ability to balance emotion and reason. This is huge when people are really, really emotional and they can't stop with their emotions. It's because they're really caught up in the duality of life. When you come from your third eye, you're able to see the balance, and the emotion is easier to control. I'm not saying to give up your emotion because your emotion is your guide. Your emotion tells you whether or not you're on your path or off your path, but realize that you don't have to be stuck in an emotional feeling. And what happens today, we've built a whole industry called psychology and psychiatry about being stuck in an image that's not the truth of us. It's a perception, and we keep focusing on that perception over and over again. We go deeper and deeper down the well, and that perception gets anchored in deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's almost impossible to get rid of until we start seeing the truth, and we start focusing on it differently. We distrust our inner voice and gut feelings. I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, "Hey Lee, what should I do here?" I go, "I don't know." "What do you want to do?" I might use heart math on someone. I think heart math is a wonderful spiritual tool where you get someone to breathe into their heart, get really connected into their heart, into the emotion of the heart. And then you ask a question, "What would you do in this?" And the first answer that comes, once you're in the state, is your heart speaking. And when your heart chakras open, it will be connected to the third eye, to the divine chakra, and you will have your answer. But you've got to be open to the possibility, and you've got to listen to that inner voice. What do they say? Be still and know that I am. When you're still and you listen to what is the I am, the divine in you will let you know. And it may give it to you in steps, because maybe you're not open to receive the full vision based on the level of awareness that you might be in this moment. So you've got to be willing to accept what is and realize that you will be given the next step when you're ready. But you've got to keep asking, and you've got to be willing to be open to receive. The next thing is unable to let go of the past and fear of the future. Man, is that prevalent now more than ever? People are holding on to the past and they're taking the past. They're dragging it into the now. They're dragging it into the future. Fear is running rampant in the world today with this virus, and people are getting caught up on it. And the more the fear comes, the more the virus will spread. The virus will stop spreading when people stop fearing it. It doesn't mean not being prudent. It means stop the fear. In most cases, scientists are saying you will have a minor cold, minor inconvenience. Don't build in your mind the possibility of death. It's very, very small percentage, and it affects the people who are already physically disabled. But all of you are not in that class. You're not there. Also, you become fixed in your beliefs, daily routines, and how you view others. You ever read people that are rigid? This is what I believe. Boom, boom, boom. This is how it is. This is how it is. No, it's just a perception. I have to be right. This is the biggest thing that puts a stop to the third eye. I have to be right. You're only right based on a perception. And your perceptions know better than anyone else's. And when you realize that, you'll be happy. In my marriage, when I stopped trying to be right with my wife, when I stopped being right with my kids, when I stopped being right with you as a community, I became a lot happier person. Because I wasn't trying to convince you of something that there was no way you were going to get until you were ready to get it yourself. Feeling stagnant and unable to move forward. See, if you don't open yourself up to the greater possibility of life, guess what? You're going to stay stuck in where you are. Your patterns of behavior, your patterns of thought, your patterns of action, your patterns of emotion, they remain stuck. When you open the third eye, you're going to see a bigger perspective. That bigger perspective comes in. Oh, here's a new way of living. Here's a new action. Here's my next action. Remember that divine wisdom will guide you one step at a time. That's what I've learned. Just listen. What is my next step? Who's the next person? Bring the next person I need to meet that will allow me to have the connection for me to live and experience this in my business, in my relationships, in my health. Whatever it might be, whatever your life is, know the divine wisdom will bring that next one in. And be aware, because it could be anyone, it could be anything, but we have to get rid of the perspective that it's got to be a certain way. The divine doesn't necessarily answer us in the way we think it does. It answers us in a way that we have to be open to hear. Also, imbalance. How can it affect you? Pretty simple. Headaches. You have a headache, you're thinking too damn much. You're into the muck. When you're into the muck and you're battling those ideas over and over and over again, your head goes crazy. It starts to ache, doesn't it? Too much happening. Eye issues. Not seeing clearly. Really, these are really simple examples, aren't they? Your back and leg pain. Why? You're not aligned. The energy's not flowing. Your leg pain. Why? What are your legs? You're your foundation, aren't they? Isn't your back your foundation, right? What's your foundation? The infinite spirit within you. And if you're not listening to the infinite spirit within you, your foundation weakens. Your sinuses. You don't have clarity. Sinus problems enter in. High blood pressure. You're not in circulation. Remember, what is the cause of 85% of all illness? Stress. Amazing guy. He wrote, "The only cause or only cure of cancer," Dr. Leonard Coldwell, has an 87% cure rate of cancer. He does not do radiation. He does not do chemo. What he does is he's identified that the main cause is stress. And the first thing he does is work with the individuals to get rid of the stress in their lives. Why? So the body can do what it does. Naturally heal itself. The body is the healing machine. It's not the medicine. The medicine tries to control the symptoms that allow the body to heal itself. The body is the most incredible healing machine when we're open to allow it. But we've got to create an atmosphere. We've got to create a pure petri dish so that the cells can multiply and grow and be healthy. And we eliminate distress. That's the third eye. End of audio. The third eye healing tips. What are they? Meditate. Everything I talk about at Agape is about meditate first. Number 1, spiritual practice. Second, there's aromatherapy. They talk about that there are certain odors that cause the mind to relax, cause the body to go in a state of healing. To do specific yoga poses, child and ego pose are those which really help. They say, affect the third eye. I pulled this. I have not practiced this one, so I cannot give a specific testimony. But enough people, it's appeared in many sources of great teachers, so I'm putting it there for you as a possibility. The other one, eat purple foods. Color of the third eye, eat the foods. What would that be? A plum. Little Jack Horner sat in a corner eating his curds away. He stuck his finger in a plum, right? Eat. What's that, eggplant? Eggplant's purple. Love it. I had some eggplant last night that was a garnish. Ooh, it was really good. Food's rich in omega-3 seconds. Here we're getting into a little bit of science, you know. A little of the humanness. Affirmations, I am statements, because whatever you put after I am becomes who you are. I am that I am. What could be after the I am? Anything. I am a natural healer. I can heal my body of anything. That's what the third eye would believe. The divine wisdom will guide you to that. Also, okay, so here we come with the third eye part of the meditation. We started with the 7th chakra and we're moving, or the 1st chakra. We're moving our way up. I've given you a pattern here that you do these one after the other in meditation. So I'm revealing to you the 6th one. It's where you put your attention on your third eye. You surround this area in the center of your mind, in the center, right here in the center of your head. You surround it with this color, midnight. Dark blue, almost a purple. You see the light spinning clockwise for a male, counterclockwise for a female. So I would see the light going like this. I would visualize that light doing that. And then I would go through and I repeat the mantra, Om Aim Harim Shrim Shri Matri Nama Om. Om is the symbol, the sound, the Sanskrit word that soothes and connects to the third eye. Not Aom, I'm talking about Om, O-M. So what I invite you to do is I invite you to review this on your own and see where is this demonstrating or how is this demonstrating in your life, and then start taking action toward that. And this week, I invite you to just focus on this one mantra. Focus on just this mantra, visualizing the purple light right here between the brow and the center of your head, whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on whether you're a man or a woman. And then repeat the mantra. Do it for 5 minutes, and do it every day. And at the end of the week, ask yourself, what do I feel differently? It's up to you to put this into practice. But I know if you do, you will find a miracle in your life because it's the divine working through you. Until the next chakra, have a great day. I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message.